2015 was a great year for gaming. So many beautiful, amazing, and overall outstanding titles. Some games on this list I would even consider some of my favorite gaming experiences of all time. Unfortunately, I was not able to play all of the biggest releases. I still haven't gotten my hands on some major releases such as Metal Gear Solid 5 or Fallout 4. However, I still played many games, enough to compile a list of my top 5 games of 2015. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. Number 5. Rare Replay. Rare Replay is a compilation of 30 games celebrating 30 years of the popular gaming studio known formerly as Rareware, but better known today as just Rare. I was a bit skeptical including this game, as it is technically a collection of other games. However, I couldn't stop myself. This game is truly amazing. It features almost all of Rare's most highly praised games, such as Banjo-Kazooie and Tooie, Conker's Bad Fur Day, and so much more. Half of these games I didn't even know existed. I had a blast playing games that I've always wanted to play and games that shaped the future of gaming. It can get those nostalgia gears turning for old players, while also delivering classic experiences to newcomers. It is packed to the brim with content, as it not only contains 30 games, but also tons of behind-the-scenes interviews, concept art, development stories, challenges, mini-games, and more. There's something in there for everyone to enjoy, no matter what type of gamer you are. Plus, the game only costs $30. 30 games, 30 years, $30. Seems like a great value to me, and that's why Rare Replay takes the number 5 slot on the top 5 games of 2015. Until Dawn is a cinematic QTE and choice-based adventure game. This game plays out like a horror movie in which you control the fate of every character and every choice that they make. The whole game revolves around a system called the butterfly effect, which charts every choice that you make and how it affects the direction the game takes. Now what makes this game truly unique is how each choice can dramatically change the game. Things that seem like trivial tasks can have huge rewards or consequences later. There are countless ways this game can be played. You can try to save the team trapped on the mountain, or you can purposely sabotage and watch each one die. The gameplay itself is somewhat of a point and click in which you wander around collecting items and finding clues to solve mysteries. When this is not happening, you are usually watching a scene play out and correctly timing button presses or making choices to progress the story. The game is mainly about surviving until dawn. Along the way, you will encounter a multitude of new dangers that will prevent you from completing this task. You can also find clues around the mountain that will help you solve the mysteries and conspiracies of Blackwood Pines. Speaking of which, the game is brimming with replayability, collectibles, and an intriguing story that keeps you wondering what would happen if you had made a different choice. The game is also relatively short, which allows you to easily make multiple playthroughs. Overall, Until Dawn is an amazing experience and should not go past anyone's radar, and is more than worthy of its number 4 spot. Number 3. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. Witcher is a massive open-world RPG, emphasis on massive. It's difficult to decide where to start with this game, but I guess I'll start with mentioning that the game looks, feels, and plays beautifully. The open world is brimming with beauty and color, but also keeps a consistently dark tone throughout the game. Exploring is rewarded, and trust me when I say there is a lot to explore. The world is massive, and hundreds of hours can be spent in it. There is always something to do in this game, and a lot of times side quests are just stumbled upon by accident by exploring the world, which I find awesome. The game's overworld is filled with lore and neat Easter eggs that always keep you wandering for hours on end. Right from the moment the game opens, you are allowed to explore freely. The story is strong and interesting and always keeps you coming back. You are constantly given choice on what to say, allowing you to take the story in your own direction. Plus, the way you behave in missions affects how the game treats you in other missions, i.e., simply being a dick in a side quest can change how a character might react to you in a main quest. The combat is fluent, challenging, and keeps the player on edge constantly. Many of the game's quests are contract missions, which are missions in which you are paid to hunt down and slay a beast. Many of these contracts lead into stories of their own. I'd realized by the end of the game that doing side quests had led me around the world more than the story actually did. The attention to detail and storytelling in missions that are put there simply to be filler in a huge world is phenomenal. The voice acting and animation is stellar, and just to note, voice acting is something the previous Witcher games were very infamous for. It wasn't very good voice acting. Just in that, I haven't even touched a quarter of the content and glory this game has to offer. It is truly a spectacular game, and is more than worthy of its number 3 spot. Oh, and did I mention Gwent? Gwent is awesome. I want a standalone mobile version of Gwent. Please, Gwent. Gwent. Number 2, Undertale. What to say about Undertale? First of all, I should put it out there that this game and my number 1 were really competing. I can easily say that this is one of my favorite games of all time. To describe it simply, Undertale is a simple RPG with a focus on character and story development. Never have I played a game with so much character and charm. The main mechanic of this game, and one of the many things that make it so unique, is the mercy system. This system allows you to spare and talk out your problems with enemies rather than face them head-on in combat. You can all be friends rather than fight. How great! The story begins simple, but as the game progresses, the story gets deeper and more interesting. The story can easily go from being cute to scary to charming to downright disturbing. The characters are easy to love and really are characters. Everyone you meet has their own silly personality, and it makes every character, even the ones who have only one line of dialogue, truly unique and fun to meet. The game has rewards and consequences to the way you play the game. A playthrough where you kill no one is almost a completely different game from a playthrough where you kill everyone. The game also has a very strange and interesting, unique way of breaking the fourth wall. The game will remember what choices you make, even if you reset to before the choice was made. Saving in this game is a mechanic in itself. By saving and resetting, you can get different lines of dialogue from each character, and sometimes even unlock whole new portions of the game. The game even remembers what you did during the last playthrough of the game, i.e., if you play the game murdering everyone, it affects the next time you play through without killing anyone. Each playthrough affects the next, which is an interesting gimmick I've never really seen a game do. With that, and all the other ways you can play, the game has tons of replayability. Aesthetically, it has somewhat of a retro Earthbound look, as well as an amazing soundtrack. The game's combat is somewhat of a bullet hell in which you must guide your soul away from the attacks of the enemy, which is a really fun twist to standard turn-based combat. Overall, the game is amazing, and I'd recommend it to anyone looking for a good time. You can get the game for only $10, $18 if you also want the soundtrack. So what are you waiting for? Play this game. Now. Seriously, it's a really good game. The soundtrack's really good also. Do it. It's on Steam. Do it now. Don't do it now. Watch the rest of this video, then do it. Okay. And now for number 1. This game is not only my favorite game of 2015, but also quite possibly my favorite game ever. I've spent countless hours in this game. It's just, I come back to it like all the time to replay it like a second, a fourth, a seventh time because of just how much I love it. And that's why it earns the number 1 slot on both the 2015 and best game of all time list. Number 1, Bloodborne. Bloodborne. This game. I have spent over 80 hours on this game. This game absorbed a portion of my life and is a main reason for System Update being down for like a month. I love this game. There is so much to say about this game. So, let's begin. Bloodborne is an RPG in which you take on the role of a hunter as you hunt ferocious beasts in a Victoria-era Gothic world. The game looks beautiful. The game does dark beautifully, giving off an eerie, uneasy feeling beauty. Have I said beauty enough? The combat is where this game really shines. It is very much like Dark Souls, with a strong emphasis on difficulty. The combat is a very fast version of Dark Souls. No more shields and protection, your only defense is your agility. No more heavy armors. It's very focused on perfectly timing sidesteps and swift attacks, and focuses the offensive side on the player. Unlike Dark Souls, the player is the one controlling the pace of the fight, rather than the enemy. It keeps things interesting. Enemies are varied, each with their own sets of moves, which you either learn quickly or perish. The game is difficult, but difficult by design rather than through being unfair. The world is linear like Dark Souls 2, but has a focus on shortcuts and unlocking paths like Dark Souls, unlike Dark Souls 2, which had more of a focus on consistent checkpoints. The multiplayer is always fun and exciting, whether you are helping others overcome similar challenges or making other players' lives miserable by invading their world. Bosses are always unique, hectic, challenging, and fun to fight, even if it takes a lot of tries. The areas in this game are very varied and ranges from beast-ridden town to forests to corrupted nightmare realms. The story, much like Dark Souls, is very hidden and not really spoon-fed to you. Much of the lore is found mostly through item descriptions. It makes the lore that much more interesting and fun to learn about and discover, and creates a sense of community, as there are plenty of forums and videos discussing and discovering lore. The lore itself is very interesting, and not only because it's hidden, all the stories these items tell are truly interesting and oftentimes sad and disturbing. And all of this doesn't even touch the surface at what Bloodborne is all about. It is truly a spectacular game and earns its place as number 1, both on this list and as my favorite video game ever. And that concludes the list of my top 5 games of 2015. Hope you all enjoyed, and if you did, leave a like and a comment, and if you want to stay up to date on all my channel's content, then subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.